Jasmine's hands trembled as she pushed the cleaning cart down the marble hallway of the Grand Meridian Hotel's penthouse floor. Her third consecutive shift in 24 hours. Her vision blurred at the edges, and she blinked hard, forcing herself to focus on the gold-plated door ahead. Room 5001, the Billionaire's suite. She swiped her master key, and the door clicked open. The suite stretched before her like something from a dream, but Jasmine barely noticed. She'd cleaned this room a dozen times before. To her, it was just another job. Another space where rich people left their expensive messes for poor people to clean up. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out with aching fingers. Medical bill past due. $8,247. Final notice. Jasmine's chest tightened. Her younger brother Marcus needed his medication. Without it, his condition would deteriorate. She'd already borrowed from everyone she knew. Worked every shift the hotel would give her. It still wasn't enough. It was never enough. She pocketed the phone and got to work. Vacuumed the carpets. Dust the surfaces. Changed the Egyptian cotton sheets that cost more than her monthly rent. Her legs burned with exhaustion. Her back screamed in protest. But she kept moving. She always kept moving. Stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant drowning. The bedroom was last. Jasmine entered, pulling fresh sheets from her cart. The bed was enormous, draped in silk covers that shimmered in the afternoon light. She stripped the old linens and began fitting the new ones, her movements mechanical, practiced. But as she leaned across to tuck in the far corner, her knee buckled. She caught herself on the mattress, breathing hard. Just need a second. Just 1 second to catch my breath. Jasmine sat on the edge of the bed. The softness stunned her. It was like sitting on a cloud. Her own mattress at home was thin, lumpy, springs poking through in 3 places. This bed probably cost more than her car. More than everything she owned. She told herself she'd rest for just a moment. Close her eyes for just 10 seconds. Her head touched the pillow, and the world went dark. Jasmine didn't hear the penthouse door open 2 hours later. Didn't hear the footsteps crossing the marble floor. Didn't hear anything until a voice cut through her sleep. "Excuse me." She jolted awake, disoriented, her heart slamming against her ribs. A man stood beside the bed. Tall, white, early 30s, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her yearly salary. His blue eyes were fixed on her with an expression she couldn't read. Jasmine scrambled off the bed, nearly falling in her panic. "Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Her words tumbled out in a rush. "I was just changing the sheets, and I sat down for 1 second. I swear I didn't mean to fall asleep. Please don't call my manager. Please, I need this job. My brother is sick. I can't lose this job." The man held up a hand. "Stop. Breathe." Jasmine forced air into her lungs, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. This was it. She was fired. Worse than fired, she'd be blacklisted. No other hotel would hire her. How would she pay for Marcus's medication? How would she pay rent? The thoughts spiraled, crushing her. "What's your name?" the man asked. His voice was calmer than she expected. No anger, no disgust, just curiosity. "Jasmine. Jasmine Carter. I work in housekeeping." "I'm so sorry, Mr. Warren. You know who I am?" "Everyone knows who you are. Ethan Warren. Tech billionaire. Created some app that revolutionized something." She couldn't remember what. All she knew was that he owned the penthouse suite year-round and paid more for 1 month than she earned in 5 years. Ethan studied her for a long moment. Jasmine wanted to disappear. Wanted the floor to open up and swallow her whole. But then he did something unexpected. He pulled out his phone and dialed. "Front desk? Yes, this is Ethan Warren in the penthouse. The woman in my room is my guest. No, don't send security. Yes, I'm certain. Don't disturb us." He ended the call and looked at Jasmine. "Sit down." "What?" "Sit down. You look like you're about to collapse." Jasmine's legs gave out, and she sank into the chair by the window. Her mind raced. This didn't make sense. He should be calling security. Should be demanding she be fired. Instead, he was pulling up a chair across from her, loosening his tie. "How long have you been awake?" he asked. "I don't what? How many hours? Since you last slept properly." Jasmine's brain struggled to calculate. "Maybe 30? I had 3 shifts back to back. My coworker called in sick, and I needed the overtime, so I—" She stopped. Why was she telling him this? Why did he care? Ethan leaned back in his chair. "I'm going to make you an offer. You can say no. But I want you to actually think about it before you decide." Jasmine's heart hammered. "Okay. I'm launching a new app in 3 months. It's designed to help low-income families find affordable housing, connect with resources, navigate social services. My team has been working on it for 2 years. But there's a problem." He paused. "Everyone on my team is rich, including me. We're building an app for people whose lives we don't understand. We need someone who actually lives the reality we're trying to address." Jasmine stared at him. "I don't know anything about apps. I don't need you to know about apps. I need you to know about struggling, about what it's actually like to work 3 jobs and still not make rent, about what barriers actually exist for people the system has failed." He met her eyes. "I need honesty, and I'm willing to pay for it." "Pay me to do what?" "Be a consultant. Come to meetings. Test the app. Tell me when we're wrong. Tell me what we're missing. 3 months, part-time, work around your schedule. $50,000. The number hit Jasmine like a physical blow. $50,000. She could pay Marcus's medical bills, could catch up on rent, could stop drowning for the first time in years. It was impossible. It had to be a trick. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do this?" Something shifted in Ethan's expression. Sadness, maybe, or memory. "My mother cleaned houses, worked herself to death doing it. She died when I was 17, 3 months before my first app went viral and made me a millionaire. I'd give every dollar I have to let her rest one more time in a bed like this." He stood up. "You fell asleep in my bed because you're exhausted from working yourself to death. I'm offering you a chance to stop drowning. You can say no. But I hope you won't." Jasmine's throat tightened. She thought of Marcus, of the medical bills, of the constant weight crushing her chest. She thought of her mother, working 2 jobs to raise them after their father left. She thought of how tired she was, how tired she'd always been. "I'll do it," she said. Ethan smiled, transformed his face, made him look younger. Human. "Good. We start Monday. I'll have my assistant send you the details." He headed for the door, then paused. "And Jasmine, finish your shift. Get some real sleep tonight. You're going to need it." The door closed behind him, and Jasmine sat alone in the penthouse, wondering if she'd just hallucinated the entire conversation. But her phone buzzed with a new email. Contract attached. $50,000 for 3 months of consultation. She read it 3 times, hands shaking, before she finally believed it was real. Monday morning, Jasmine stood outside the glass tower that housed Warren Tech, feeling like she'd stepped into another dimension. Everyone streaming through the doors wore expensive clothes and carried expensive coffee. She'd worn her nicest outfit, a dress she'd bought at a thrift store 3 years ago, and she still felt like an imposter. Jasmine Carter? A woman with a severe bun and a tablet appeared beside her. "I'm Monica, Mr. Warren's executive assistant. Follow me." They rode the elevator to the 20th floor in silence. Monica's heels clicked against the polished concrete as she led Jasmine through an open office space filled with standing desks, beanbag chairs, and people who all looked like they'd walked out of a magazine. Jasmine had never felt more out of place in her life. "Conference room 3, Monica said, opening a glass door. "Mr. Warren will be here shortly." Jasmine entered a room full of people in casual but expensive clothes. They stopped talking when she walked in, their eyes scanning her from head to toe. She felt their judgment like a physical weight. "Hi," she said weakly. "I'm Jasmine." No one responded. They just stared. Jasmine wanted to run. Then Ethan entered, and the energy in the room shifted. "Everyone, this is Jasmine Carter. She's joining us as a reality consultant for the Home Connect project. Jasmine, this is the team." He rattled off names she immediately forgot. then gestured to an empty chair. Sit. Let's get started. The meeting was overwhelming. They threw around terms Jasmine didn't understand: API integration, user interface, scalability metrics. She stayed quiet, trying to follow along, feeling stupider by the minute, until someone pulled up a prototype of the app on the screen. So users input their income and family size here, a guy named Derek explained, and the algorithm generates a personalized lifestyle integration plan. Stop, Jasmine said. The word came out before she could stop it. Everyone turned to stare at her. Derek's eyebrows rose. Excuse me? Jasmine's face burned, but she pushed forward. You said this app is for people struggling to find housing, but you're asking them to input all this information about lifestyle integration? Nobody struggling to pay rent cares about lifestyle integration. They care about finding a place that won't take 60% of their income. They care about landlords who don't discriminate. They care about neighborhoods where their kids can walk to school safely. The room went silent. Derek's face flushed red. We've done extensive market research. Have you ever actually been poor? Jasmine asked. That's not relevant. It's completely relevant. You're building an app for people you've never met, people whose problems you've never had. This whole interface is designed for people who already have choices. Poor people don't have choices. They have desperation. Half the team looked offended, but Ethan was smiling. She's right, he said. Derek, scrap the lifestyle integration module. Jasmine, what should we focus on instead? And just like that, Jasmine found herself redesigning a tech app with a room full of people who made 10 times her salary. It was terrifying. It was exhilarating. For the first time in her life, someone with power was actually listening to her. The meeting ran 3 hours. By the end, they'd restructured half the app based on Jasmine's feedback. When everyone filed out, Ethan hung back. You did great, he said. Your team hates me. My team needed to be challenged. They've been living in an echo chamber. He grinned. Same time Wednesday? Jasmine nodded, still processing what had just happened. As she left the building, her phone buzzed. Monica had sent her schedule for the week. 3 meetings. All marked essential personnel. Essential. Jasmine had never been essential to anything except survival. Over the next 2 weeks, Jasmine fell into a strange new rhythm. She still worked her hotel shifts. She couldn't bring herself to quit. Not yet. But 3 days a week, she stepped into Ethan's world. Each meeting, she pushed back against assumptions. Each session, she pointed out blind spots. And slowly, impossibly, the team started listening. But it was the late nights that changed everything. Ethan started inviting her to stay after meetings to work through problems over takeout. No team, no assistants, just the 2 of them, redesigning an app that might actually help people like her. Take me to your neighborhood, Ethan said one evening, closing his laptop. Jasmine looked up from her notes. What? Your neighborhood, where you live. I need to see it, understand it. He stood up, grabbing his jacket. Show me what we're actually trying to solve. 30 minutes later, they stood on Jasmine Street in the South End. Cracked sidewalks, boarded up windows, a liquor store with bars on the windows, kids playing in a lot full of broken glass because there was no park. This was her world, and Ethan was seeing it for the first time. The closest grocery store is 3 miles away, Jasmine said quietly. No bus route goes directly there. So people shop at corner stores that charge twice as much for half the quality. That building there, she pointed, condemned for 2 years, rats everywhere, but people still squat in it because they have nowhere else to go. And that house, she gestured to a sagging structure with a for rent sign. The landlord will ask for first month, last month, security deposit, and an application fee. That's $4,000 up front for a place with black mold and no working heat. Your app asks users to compare amenities. But amenities don't exist here. Survival exists here. Ethan was quiet for a long moment, his jaw tight. I grew up 3 blocks from here, he finally said. Jasmine turned to him, surprised. Different city, same neighborhood, he continued. My mom worked 60 hours a week cleaning other people's houses so I could eat. She died from a heart attack on a subway platform, going to her third job of the day. I was 17. Made my first million at 20. He looked at Jasmine. I've spent 10 years trying to forget where I came from. Maybe that was a mistake. Something shifted between them in that moment. A recognition, an understanding. They weren't from different worlds after all. They were from the same world. Ethan had just escaped it. Come on, Jasmine said softly. Let me show you what actually helps. She took him to Mrs. Chen's community center, where volunteers taught resume writing, to the church that ran a food bank, to the street corner where people traded skills, car repair for childcare, plumbing for haircuts, to the network of mutual aid that kept people alive when systems failed them. Ethan took notes on his phone, asked questions, listened, really listened, and Jasmine found herself talking more than she had in years. About Marcus, about her mother, about the constant fear that one emergency would destroy everything. They ended up at a late-night diner, sitting across from each other in a cracked vinyl booth. Ethan ordered coffee. Jasmine ordered pie. Why'd you really let me sleep in your bed? She asked. You could have just called security. Ethan stirred his coffee, not meeting her eyes. That bed was my mom's favorite thing. I bought the penthouse suite 5 years ago, furnished it with everything I thought she would have loved. But she never got to see it, never got to rest in it. When I saw you sleeping there, exhausted from working yourself to death, he trailed off. I don't know. Maybe I thought if I helped you, it would somehow make up for not being able to help her. Jasmine's chest tightened. I'm not your mom. I know. But maybe you can have the life she deserved. The life she worked herself to death trying to give me. He finally looked up. Is that selfish? Using you to absolve my guilt? Probably, Jasmine said. Then she smiled. But I'll take it. They both laughed, and something warm bloomed in Jasmine's chest. Something dangerous. She was starting to care about Ethan Warren. Not as a billionaire. Not as her employer. As a person. And that terrified her more than anything. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Now, let's continue. The next morning, Jasmine showed up for her hotel shift. She pushed her cart down the familiar hallway, her mind still on the conversation with Ethan. On the way, he'd looked at her across the diner booth. On the warmth in his voice when he talked about his mother. She was so distracted that she almost didn't notice the new cleaner struggling with a vacuum in the hallway. Hey, you need help? Jasmine asked. The girl looked up. Early 20s, dark hair, expensive watch that seemed wrong for a hotel cleaner. Something about her face was familiar. I'm fine, the girl said shortly. Thanks. Jasmine shrugged and continued to her assigned rooms. But throughout the shift, she kept seeing the new girl. Always alone. Always working twice as hard as necessary. Like she was trying to prove something. During lunch break, Jasmine approached her in the break room. I'm Jasmine. You're new, right? The girl hesitated, then nodded. Sophia. Started last week. Where'd you work before? Nowhere. This is my first job. Sophia opened her lunch, fancy salad from the organic place downtown that charged $15 for lettuce. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. First job ever? Yeah. And you chose hotel housekeeping? Sophia's jaw tightened. I needed work. This place was hiring. That a problem? No problem. Just unusual. Most people don't start their work life as a cleaner. Jasmine studied her. You running from something? For a moment, Sophia's carefully blank expression cracked, showing something raw underneath. Fear, maybe, or pain. Then the mask slammed back into place. Aren't we all? She left the break room before Jasmine could respond. That evening, Jasmine was back at Warren Tech for another late session with Ethan. They were deep into redesigning the app's verification process when Monica knocked on the conference room door. Mr. Warren? Your father's on line 1. He says it's urgent. Ethan's expression hardened. Tell him I'm busy. He says it's about your sister. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Ethan stood abruptly. I'll take it in my office. Jasmine, give me 10 minutes. He left. Jasmine sat alone, wondering about this sister he'd never mentioned. Wondering about the pain that had flashed across his face at the word sister. She shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have opened his laptop while he was gone. But curiosity got the better of her, and the screen was still unlocked, showing his email inbox. Right there at the top, Sophia Warren, missing person report, closed. Jasmine's blood went cold. Sophia, the new hotel cleaner with the expensive watch and the defensive attitude. Warren. Oh God. She quickly closed the laptop, her heart racing. But her mind was already connecting dots. Ethan's sister had run away, was working as a hotel cleaner, hiding from her family, hiding from Ethan, and Jasmine had just found her. Ethan returned 15 minutes later, his face pale, his hands shaking slightly. He sank into his chair and ran his fingers through his hair. My sister disappeared 2 years ago, he said without preamble. Just vanished. Left a note saying she couldn't live in our world anymore. My father hired private investigators. They found nothing. And now he's calling to tell me he's giving up the search. His voice cracked. She's 23 years old, Jasmine. She could be anywhere. She could be hurt. She could be... He couldn't finish. Jasmine's throat tightened. She should tell him right now that his sister was safe, working at the Grand Meridian, living under his nose this whole time. But something stopped her. The fear in Sophia's eyes. The desperation to escape. If Sophia had run from this family, from this wealth, she must have had a reason. I'm sorry, Jasmine said quietly. That must be terrible. Ethan nodded, composing himself. She was the only real thing in my life. Everyone else wanted something from me. Money, connections, status. But Sophia just wanted her big brother. And I was too busy building an empire to notice she was drowning. He looked at Jasmine with red-rimmed eyes. Don't make my mistakes. Whatever's important to you, hold on to it. Money can't buy back time. Jasmine wanted to tell him. The words sat on her tongue. But she swallowed them. Let's keep working, she said instead. Your sister would want you to finish what you started. They worked until midnight. And Jasmine carried the weight of her secret like a stone in her chest. The next day, Jasmine found Sophia in the hotel laundry room, folding towels with mechanical precision. We need to talk, Jasmine said, closing the door behind her. Sophia didn't look up. About what? About your brother. Sophia's hands froze. Slowly, she turned to face Jasmine, her expression carefully neutral. I don't have a brother. Ethan Warren, tech billionaire. Your big brother who's been looking for you for 2 years. Jasmine kept her voice gentle. I work with him. I saw your name on a missing person report. You're Sophia Warren. For a moment, Sophia just stared at her. Then she laughed, bitter and sharp. Congratulations, detective. What do you want? A reward? Because Daddy will pay handsomely for information about his runaway daughter. I don't want money. I want to understand. Why are you hiding from people who love you? Love. Sophia's voice turned hard. You think they love me? They loved the idea of me. The perfect daughter. The perfect sister. Go to the right schools, marry the right person, smile for the right cameras. But the real me? The messy, complicated, imperfect me? That version wasn't acceptable. She turned back to the towels, folding with aggressive precision. Ethan was the worst. After he made his fortune, he tried to fix everything with money. Therapy? Here's a check. Unhappy? Here's a trust fund. Problems? Here's a solution I bought. He never just listened. Never just sat with me. Everything was a transaction. Jasmine thought about the Ethan she'd come to know. The man who'd listened to her for hours. Who'd come to her neighborhood and really seen it. People can change. Can they? Or do they just get better at performing empathy? Sophia met her eyes. You're the cleaner he found sleeping in his bed. The one he's paying to consult on his latest savior project. Right? Jasmine's stomach dropped. How did you? Hotel gossip travels fast. Everyone knows about Ethan Warren's new charity case. Sophia's voice was cold. That's what you are to him. Project. A way to feel good about himself. He's not helping you because he cares about you. He's helping you because it makes him feel less guilty about being obscenely rich while people like us scrub toilets. That's not true, isn't it? Tell me something, Jasmine. Has he introduced you to his friends, his family, or does he keep you separated from his real life? Sophia picked up another towel. You're a consultant, a temporary fix. When the app launches and he gets his good publicity, you'll go back to being invisible. That's how people like him operate. They pretend to care until it stops being convenient. Jasmine wanted to argue, but doubt crept in like poison. Ethan had never mentioned her to anyone outside the project. Never invited her to anything personal. Was Sophia right? Was she just a project to him? I won't tell him where you are, Jasmine said quietly. That's your choice to make. But he's not the villain you think he is. And he's not the hero you think he is either, Sophia replied. Be careful, Jasmine. People like my brother destroy people like us without even meaning to. It's just what they do. That evening, Jasmine couldn't focus during her session with Ethan. She kept hearing Sophia's words, kept noticing how Ethan's phone buzzed with messages from people in his real world. A world she wasn't part of. You okay? Ethan asked, looking up from his laptop. You've been quiet. Just tired, Jasmine lied. We can call it early if you want. No, it's fine. Let's keep going. But an hour later, when Ethan's phone rang with a call from someone named Charles Worthington III, and he stepped out to take it with an apologetic smile, Jasmine felt the distance between their worlds like a physical ache. She was scrolling through her own phone when she saw it. A text from her friend Maria, who worked at a different hotel downtown. Girl, did you see this? Attached was a photo. Ethan and Jasmine walking down her street 2 nights ago, deep in conversation. But the photo was cropped and angled to make it look intimate. Romantic. The headline on the gossip site read, Tech billionaire Ethan Warren's mystery woman? Secret romance or PR stunt? Jasmine's blood ran cold. She clicked the article. It was full of speculation. Some commenters praised Ethan for dating a real woman. Others accused him of using her for diversity points. The cruelest ones called her a gold digger, a social climber, someone trying to trap a billionaire. Her phone buzzed with more texts. More people sending her the article. More gossip spreading like wildfire. When Ethan returned, his face was tight. We need to talk. You saw the article, Jasmine said. My PR team just sent it to me. Jasmine, I'm sorry. This is my fault. I should have been more careful. More careful about being seen with me? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Jasmine stood up, her hands shaking. Should you have been more careful about bringing your charity project into public? Should you have kept me hidden better? Ethan's eyes widened. Charity project? Where is this coming from? Am I wrong? You found me sleeping in your bed, felt guilty, and decided to help the poor struggling cleaner. Make yourself feel better about being rich. Get some good publicity for your app launch. That's what this is, right? No. Jasmine, no. That's not. Then what is it? Her voice rose. Because that article is right about one thing. We don't make sense. A billionaire and a hotel cleaner? That's not a real connection. That's a PR opportunity. Is that what you think? Ethan's voice was quiet. Hurt. After all the time we've spent together? After everything we've talked about? I don't know what to think anymore. Jasmine grabbed her bag. Maybe your sister was right. My sister? What does Sophia have to do with? Ethan froze. You found her. You know where Sophia is. Jasmine's stomach dropped. She'd said too much. Where is she? Ethan demanded. Jasmine, where's my sister? I can't tell you. Can't or won't. She doesn't want to be found, Ethan. She ran away from your world for a reason. And you decided you know what's best for my family? You decided to keep her location secret. His voice was rising now, anger replacing hurt. She could be in danger. She could need help. And you're playing games with her life. I'm respecting her choice. She's 23 years old and working God knows where doing God knows what, and you think keeping that from her family is respectful? Ethan's hands clenched into fists. I trusted you. I brought you into my life, into my work, and you've been lying to me this entire time. I met her 3 days ago. I was trying to figure out the right thing to do. The right thing is to tell me where my sister is. They stared at each other, breathing hard. The air between them crackled with anger and hurt and betrayal. Everything good they'd built was crumbling. I need to go, Jasmine said, her voice breaking. Fine. Go. And don't come back. The words hit like a slap. Jasmine turned and walked out, her vision blurring with tears. She heard Ethan call her name once, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. She ran to the elevator, jabbed the button, and rode down 20 floors with her hand pressed to her mouth to muffle her sobs. Outside, the city lights blurred into streaks of color. Jasmine walked without direction, without destination. She'd ruined everything. Lost the job, lost the money, lost Ethan. And for what? To protect Sophia's secret? To preserve some imaginary moral high ground? Her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled. But I need to find my sister. Please. Jasmine deleted it without responding. She went home to her cramped apartment, where Marcus was watching TV on their ancient couch. He took one look at her face and turned off the TV. What happened? Jasmine told him everything. The argument, the article, Sophia, all of it. Marcus listened quietly, then sighed. You're an idiot. Thanks. Super helpful. No, really. You're an idiot. You found his missing sister and didn't tell him? What did you think would happen? She asked me not to. She ran away for a reason. And maybe that reason isn't valid anymore. Maybe she needs to talk to her brother and work things out. But you decided to play God and make that choice for her. Marcus shook his head. Jazz, I love you. But sometimes you're so busy trying to protect everyone that you hurt them instead. Jasmine sank onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You know exactly what to do. You're just scared to do it. He was right. She was scared. Scared of losing the tentative friendship she'd built with Sophia. Scared of Ethan's world swallowing her whole. Scared of caring about someone who could destroy her without even trying. But fear wasn't a good enough reason to keep a brother from his sister. The next morning, Jasmine found Sophia in the hotel parking lot, about to start her shift. I told Ethan I found you, Jasmine said without preamble. Sophia's face went white, then red with fury. You what? I didn't tell him where you work, but I told him you're alive and safe. And I think you should talk to him. You had no right. You're right. I had no right. But I'm done playing referee for your family drama. You want to hate your brother? Fine. Hate him to his face. But do it honestly instead of hiding like a coward. Sophia's hand flew up, and for a second, Jasmine thought she might actually get slapped. But Sophia's hand dropped. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't understand, she whispered. If I go back, I'll disappear. I'll become who they want me to be again. I can't. I won't. So don't. Meet him on your terms. Tell him the truth. Set boundaries. But give him a chance to be the brother you need instead of the brother he was. Sophia wiped her eyes roughly. He'll try to fix everything. Throw money at my problems. Make me feel like a broken thing that needs repair. Then tell him that's not what you need. Tell him what you do need. Jasmine pulled out her phone. I'm texting you his number. What you do with it is up to you. But I'm done being the middleman. She walked away before Sophia could respond. She'd done what she could. The rest was up to them. Jasmine didn't hear from Ethan for 3 days. 3 long, painful days where she worked her hotel shifts in silence. Avoiding Sophia. Avoiding everyone. Her phone stayed quiet. No texts. No calls. No job offers. She'd lost everything. On the 4th day, Marcus's medication arrived. All of it. 6 months' worth. With a note. This isn't charity. This payment for services rendered. You helped me see what I was missing. Thank you. E.W. Jasmine sat on her bathroom floor and cried. The app launch was scheduled for Friday evening. A big event at a downtown hotel with investors, press, local politicians. Jasmine wasn't invited. She'd been removed from the project entirely. But she watched the live stream on her phone while eating ramen on her couch. Ethan looked good, professional, confident. He stood at a podium explaining Home Connect, the app they'd built together. The app that was supposed to help people like her. He talked about accessibility, about real-world application, about listening to the people the app served. But his words sounded hollow, rehearsed, like he was performing empathy rather than feeling it. The camera panned across the audience. Monica sat in the front row looking smug. Derek and the rest of the tech team looked proud. Investors in expensive suits checked their phones, barely listening. Then Ethan stopped mid-sentence. The camera swung back to him. He was staring at someone in the audience with an expression of shock. "I'm sorry," he said into the microphone. Can we pause for a moment?" The camera panned again, searching. And there, in the back row, sat Sophia, looking terrified and defiant in equal measure. Ethan stepped away from the podium and walked down the aisle. The room went silent. Everyone watched as he reached Sophia, stopped, and stood there with tears streaming down his face. "Hi," he said, his voice barely audible but picked up by someone's phone camera. "Hi," Sophia replied. "I'm sorry. I know. I'm so sorry." Sophia stood up. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Then she stepped forward and hugged him. Ethan wrapped his arms around his sister and sobbed into her shoulder, while cameras flashed and a room full of wealthy strangers watched a billionaire break down. Jasmine watched the live stream through her own tears. This was what mattered. Not apps, not money, not publicity. Family, connection, real, messy, complicated love. Ethan pulled back, wiping his face, and turned to the audience. "I'm sorry. This is unprofessional. But I don't care. This is my sister. She's been missing for 2 years, and she's here, and nothing else matters right now." Someone started clapping. Then another person. Then the whole room erupted in applause. Ethan led Sophia back to the podium. "We're going to take a 15-minute break," he announced. "And then I'm going to tell you about the real reason this app exists. About the people it's meant to serve. About the woman who taught me how to actually listen instead of just performing empathy." The camera zoomed in on his face. He looked directly at the lens. "Jasmine, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. For everything. You were right about all of it. I was using you to absolve my guilt. I was keeping you separate from my real life because I was scared of what it meant that I—" He stopped, swallowed hard. "I need to talk to you. Please. Give me one more chance to get this right." Jasmine's hands shook. Her phone buzzed with texts from Maria, from coworkers, from people she barely knew. Everyone had seen it. Everyone knew. She should stay home. Should protect herself. Should remember that people like Ethan Warren destroyed people like her without meaning to. But she thought about his face when he talked about his mother. About the way he'd listened in her neighborhood. About Marcus's medication arriving with that note. About Sophia showing up to support her brother despite everything. People could change. People could grow. And sometimes, just sometimes, rich boys who'd forgotten where they came from could remember. Could come home. Could be real. Jasmine grabbed her jacket and ran. She made it to the hotel just as the break ended. Security tried to stop her at the door, but Monica, of all people, waved her through with something that might have been a smile. Jasmine slipped into the back of the room as Ethan retook the podium. He hadn't seen her yet. "Before we continue," Ethan said, "I need to introduce someone. The person who actually made this app work. Who tore apart our assumptions and forced us to build something real." He scanned the audience. "Jasmine Carter, where?" His eyes found her. His whole face transformed. "There you are," he breathed into the microphone. Jasmine wanted to run, wanted to hide, wanted to disappear. But she forced herself to walk down the aisle as hundreds of eyes tracked her movement. Ethan met her halfway, abandoning the podium entirely. "You came," he said. "You apologized on live television. Seemed like the least I could do. I'm sorry. For the article. For yelling at you. For keeping you separate from my life like you were something to be ashamed of when the truth is you're the best thing that's happened to me in years. Jasmine's breath caught. Ethan, I don't want you to be a consultant. I don't want you to be a project. I want. He stopped. Seemed to realize they were surrounded by cameras and people. Can we talk? Privately? Jasmine nodded. They left through a side door, ignoring the murmurs and camera flashes. Found an empty conference room. Closed the door on the chaos. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Sophia told me everything, Ethan said. About why she ran. About what I did wrong. About how I used money to avoid actually connecting with people. He stepped closer. She also said you protected her. Even when it cost you everything. Even when I was yelling at you. You put her needs first. I should have told you sooner. Maybe. But you were trying to do the right thing. That's more than I can say. He reached out tentatively, and Jasmine let him take her hand. I want to offer you a job. A real one. Chief Community Officer. Full salary, benefits, equity in the company. You'd lead our community engagement, make sure we're actually helping people instead of just performing help. But more than that, his voice dropped. I want to know if there's any chance you could forgive me. Any chance we could start over. Not as employer and consultant. Not as billionaire and cleaner. Just as two people who see each other. Really see each other. Jasmine thought about Sophia's warning. About the article's cruel comments. About the gap between their worlds. But she also thought about late nights redesigning an app. About Ethan crying on his sister's shoulder. About the medication that had arrived with that note. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. Your world is different from mine. People will say things. Assume things. Let them. I don't care what they think. I care what you think. I think. Jasmine took a shaky breath. I think you're trying. Really trying. And that matters. I think we could try together. See what happens when neither of us is pretending. Ethan smiled, and it was genuine, unguarded, real. Yeah, but I have conditions. I take the job on my terms. I'm not your charity case. I'm your equal partner. And we do this honestly. No more separating worlds. No more hiding. Deal. He stepped closer. Can I kiss you? Is that okay? Jasmine answered by closing the distance between them. The kiss was gentle, tentative, full of promise and hope and the terrifying possibility of something real. When they pulled apart, Ethan laughed. We should probably go back to the launch event. Probably. Your investors are waiting. Let them wait. I have something more important to do. He took her hand. Introduce you properly. As my partner in all of this. Show everyone that the best thing about this company isn't the technology. It's the people it serves. And the people who make sure we actually serve them. They walked back into the event together. Sophia caught Jasmine's eye from across the room and smiled. A real smile, warm and grateful. Monica actually gave Jasmine a thumbs up. The tech team looked uncertain but willing to listen. It wasn't perfect. It wouldn't be easy. There would be more articles, more judgment, more people who didn't understand. But for the first time in her life, Jasmine felt like she belonged somewhere. Not because someone had given her charity, but because she'd earned her place. Because she'd stood up and demanded to be seen as equal. And Ethan stood beside her, holding her hand in front of everyone, making it clear. This woman mattered. This woman had value. This woman had changed everything. 3 months later, Home Connect launched to massive success. It actually helped people, actually made a difference, because it was built by people who understood struggle, guided by someone who'd lived it. Jasmine moved her family to a better neighborhood, paid off all of Marcus's medical bills, started a scholarship fund for hospitality workers who wanted to transition to tech. Sophia reconciled with her father, though she kept her job at the hotel. I like the work, she explained. I like being regular. And Ethan? Ethan learned that sometimes the best thing a rich person could do wasn't throw money at problems. It was shut up and listen to the people who actually understood those problems. On the anniversary of the day Jasmine fell asleep in his bed, Ethan took her back to the penthouse suite. "I had them keep it exactly the same," he said, leading her to the bedroom. "The same silk covers, the same soft mattress. Because this is where everything changed, where I stopped performing empathy and started actually feeling it." Jasmine sat on the edge of the bed, running her hand over the silk. "I was so tired that day, so defeated. I thought falling asleep here would be the worst mistake of my life. And was it?" She looked up at him, at this man who'd seen her at her lowest and chosen to lift her up instead of looking away, who'd listened when she challenged him, who'd changed because she demanded he change. "No," she said. "It was the best mistake I ever made." Ethan sat beside her, taking her hand. "I love you, Jasmine Carter. Not the consultant. Not the chief community officer. You. The woman who fell asleep in my bed and woke up my entire life." "I love you too," Jasmine replied. "Even though you're still kind of terrible at fixing things without throwing money at them." He laughed. "I'm working on it. I know. That's why I'm staying." They kissed, and somewhere in the city below, other hotel cleaners worked their shifts. Other people struggled to survive. Other lives hung in the balance between despair and hope. But in that moment, in that bed where everything had changed, two people from different worlds proved that sometimes, just sometimes, those worlds could merge. Sometimes, falling asleep in the wrong place at the wrong time was actually falling into exactly where you needed to be. And everything changed. If you loved this story, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales, and drop a comment telling us what you thought. What would you have done in Jasmine's position? Let us know below. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes your biggest mistake becomes your greatest blessing. See you in the next story.